Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Cyrille. I'm a contributor to Aladdin DAO and FX Protocol. So Aladdin DAO released 3 protocols from starting 3 years ago with Concentrator and Clever, which are both built on top of Convex. And the latest one is FX Protocol. So today I will introduce you to the reserve-backed stablecoin and how big of a paradigm shift it is. Why am I talking of a paradigm shift? It's because it's a perfectly decentralized stablecoin, which is backed only by decentralized assets, which is 100% on-chain. Nothing is happening off-chain, or there is no relation to any real-world asset or whatever, not decentralized stuff. You're able to stake your stablecoin and earn LSTs or LRT yields. So that means real yield, real usage with the stablecoin. And it's way more scalable than a CDP model because the stablecoin is always collateralized 100%. On the other hand, you're able to get leverage opportunity in the form of leverage tokens that are non-liquidatable, and you can get up to 4.3x leverage without facing liquidation risk nor paying any funding fee. Let me first take a little look at the stablecoin market cap. When I wrote this slide, the stablecoin market cap was around $160 billion. And I bet it's probably still around that. But if you take a closer look at the stablecoin market cap, not sure it's easy to read on such a screen, but it's mostly centralized or has centralized exposure. And why is that? And funny thing, the latest one is the 13th one is Terra Classic. It's trading below 2 cents. So there is definitely room for improvement in the decentralized stablecoin market. As a matter of fact, decentralized stablecoin only represent 0.4% of this $160 billion market. And why is that? It's probably because of this famous stablecoin trilemma. So don't worry, I'm not saying we're going to crack the stablecoin trilemma, but we definitely improve the balance between these 3 different topics, which are stability. And stablecoins always need to find a good balance between stability, so how the stablecoin is actually stable and able to keep its peg, decentralization, how resilient it is, how decentralized it is, and scalability, so how much can grow with the demand on the market. And as you've seen previously with the previous slide, most stablecoins make a compromise on decentralization to be able to scale enough. And we figured with FX Protocol that we could do things differently, and that's what I'm going to tell you about. So what are the actual alternatives on the decentralized stablecoin market? Most of decentralized stablecoin are collateral debt positions, aka CDP. I'm sure you all know how it works, but to break things down, you pledge a collateral, most of the time it's ETH, and you can mint a stablecoin against a fee, whether it's fixed fee or a yearly fee. In that model, when you mint the stablecoin, you have to handle the debt. So you're facing liquidations or redemptions, and you have to manage it. Obviously, there are awesome tools such as DeFi Saver to help you do that, but still, you need to have to want to face that leverage. And people taking leverage, most of the time, what do they do with their stablecoin? They will sell it to get more leverage, to get more exposure to the collateral. That means that stable holders, the ones who really want to use the stable because it's stable, they face selling pressure at all time. And that also means that the issuer of the stablecoins need to build a massive liquidity on DEXs, which is very expensive to sustain. You'll see that in the reserve-backed stablecoin model, none of this is true. So I just made a short slide about the CDP, but please now forget about the CDP, because the reserve-backed stablecoin is way different. So let me introduce you to the FX invariant. I'm talking about FX because FX Protocol was the first protocol to introduce the reserve-backed stablecoin back in March 2023 when USDC depegged. Aladdin DAO decided it couldn't face centralized exposure anymore and such a risk of depeg, and they couldn't find a decentralized stablecoin that where the peg would be trustable enough. So the model, as I said, is way different from the CDP. So forget about the CDP. And if there's one thing you should keep in mind, is that when you mint a stablecoin, I'll take the example of our flagship stablecoin, which is called FXUSD, for the purpose of this keynote. It's backed by Steve from Lido. So when you pledge Steve to the protocol, it will go into the reserve. And the protocol will give you either, you can choose whether you want a stablecoin called FXUSD, or if you want XSTEEF, which is a leverage token. And the protocol will give it either FXUSD or the leverage token at Oracle price. That means you lose exposure to STEEF when you mint FXUSD. It's just like swapping. And that's all you need to remember from this presentation today. But I'm going to dive into details. Don't worry. It can be a little blurry right now, but it's going to be crystal clear. And you could see the protocol as one big CDP. As a user, you don't have to manage any leverage position. The protocol will do it on your behalf. And again, it's 100% on-chain. So what the FX invariant is, it makes it possible. If you have to understand how the protocol works, you have to remember the FX invariant. It means that at all time, the value of the reserve, the STEEF reserve, is equal to the value of all FXUSD on the market and all XSTEEF on the market. And that's how the protocol works. So how do you use FX? As I told you, it's just like swapping. You can swap from any asset to FXUSD, and you will have it at 1 USD. That's why FXUSD is always perfectly pegged, because you can mint it and redeem it at all time at Oracle price without facing any price impact. And now, how do you get the price of XSTEEF? Well, you'll use the invariant to do that. And I'll show you a couple of examples, very simple examples, in a couple of seconds to help you understand. But basically, what you have to remember is, if you want a perfectly stable coin that gets real yield, you simply swap for FXUSD. And FXUSD is as liquid as its collateral, since you can mint it at Oracle price. That means FXUSD is as liquid as STEEF, for instance. Or if you want leverage without facing liquidation and without having to manage a position and while having composability of an ERC20, then you just swap for XSTEEF. Simple as that. Now let me explain you how the leverage works. Let's imagine we've got $200 worth of STEEF in the reserve. Obviously, there's way more, but just to get a simple example. There's 200 value of STEEF in the reserve, $100 of FXUSD on the market, and $100 of XSTEEF on the market. Let's imagine the distribution is like that. Now, if market raises by 10%, the reserve value is now worth $220, right? Pretty easy. The FXUSD value is still $100 because it's a stable coin, and as a stable coin, it's pegged to the dollar, so it doesn't move. Now, remember, the invariant says at all time, the reserve value is equal to the value of all FXUSD on the market and all XSTEEF on the market. You can just make the difference to find the value of all XSTEEF, and that's what the protocol does. So you now get a value of all XSTEEF of $120. That means when ETH took 10%, XSTEEF took 20%. That means at that time, XSTEEF holders got a 2x leverage without facing liquidation risks. Simple as that. Now, it's also important for you to get that the leverage is volatile. It will depend on the distribution between FXUSD and XSTEEF. aka, it means it will depend on the demand on leverage. In that example, there's a little less demand on the leverage token. As you can see, the reserve is also valued $200, but there's $154 of FXUSD on the market and $46 only of XSTEEF on the market. Again, let's imagine if price raises by 10%. Again, the value obviously is worth now $220. FXUSD is still $164 because, again, it's perfectly pegged to the dollar. And now, if we make the difference, again, we get a value of XSTEEF of $66. At that point, when ETH takes 10%, XETH took 43%, meaning you got a 4.3x leverage without, again, facing liquidation risk, simply by holding the token, and you don't pay any funding or anything. So I choose that example on purpose, because if you remember, earlier I told you that you could see the protocol as one big CDP, and the protocol would make sure that it's always enough collateralized. That means the stablecoin needs to be always above 100% collateralization, and the whole protocol even more. So we want to make sure that the collateral ratio, which is the value of the whole reserve divided by the value of FXUSD, is always above 130% to make sure we never go under 100%. And for that, we have different stability mechanisms. The first one is the stability pool, and that's how you actually can get yield with your stablecoin. You simply stake your stable into the stability pool, and when you do that, you will earn the protocol revenues plus FXN emission, FXN being our governance token. And what are the revenue made of? Remember, the protocol keeps a whole reserve of STETH, and these STETH produce revenue, right? So when you stake your stables into the stability pool, you will earn this revenue from the whole reserve, including the reserve backing the leverage token. Because when you get this leverage, you will get the leverage without facing the liquidation, but you give your yield up to the stable stakers. That means you get enhanced leverage with the stable to compare with the underlying leverage. I hope I'm not losing you saying leverage so much in the same sentence, but I bet you got it. So that's how the stability pool works. And in case of under-collateralization, in case of the protocol going under 130%, then the stability pool can redeem the stable coins for either the underlying. You can choose to stake into a stability pool that will redeem for STETH, or you can choose to stake into a stability pool that will redeem into XSTETH. And when does that happen? Most of the time it happens in case of a sudden market dip. So what happens? You end up buying the dip with the stability pool. And you can buy the dip on STETH, or you can buy the dip on XSTETH. At the moment, if you remember correctly, when the collateral ratio is 130%, XSTETH leverage is 4.3. So if you expect the market to bounce back, it's probably a good idea. Some people may see this as buying the dip, some others may see this as catching a falling knife, but I like to say, for me, ETH is kind of a rounded knife, but that's my own personal opinion. And if the stability pool is not enough, it's obviously the best risk-reward strategy with our stables, but if the stability pool is not enough to rebalance the protocol, there's other incentives to redeem the stable token and mint more leverage tokens to rebalance the protocol coming into play, such as the fee structure on the minting and redeeming fees and so on. You can find all the details in the documentation. So yeah, that's about the stability pool. And that's how you get, as I told you in the beginning, on one hand, a perfectly pegged stablecoin, which is perfectly decentralized, which happens 100% on-chain, and which has inherent yield, inherent real yield and usage. And on the other end, you get this leverage, liquidation-free leverage with no funding cost. I was watching a keynote from Dennis previously, like half an hour ago. He was talking about how to get beta on ETH, beta strategy on ETH. And that's XETH is obviously a very good beta strategy on ETH because it's always above 1 and it can go up to 4.3. So I gave you the example of FXUSD, and you can also see the whole protocol as a DEX without price impact, without slippage. Because remember, all the assets are minted and redeemed at Oracle price. And that's probably the reason why aggregators such as OpenOcean and CowSwap routed the protocol as a DEX, making the liquidity accessible. And that's also the reason why blue chip assets such as Go and Dola and other stablecoins paired with FXUSD, because by pairing with FXUSD on Curve, for instance, not only are they building liquidity with a perfectly pegged stablecoin, but they're also building instant liquidity with its collateral, because the protocol is used as a DEX by aggregators. So that's a good way. I remember the previous keynote with the Fig from Paladin saying, yeah, it's hard to provide liquidity without facing impermanent loss. In a way, when you provide liquidity to a stable pool with FX USD, you're also providing liquidity for the stable to the collateral without facing impermanent loss. So yeah, I said it. And so I told you about FX USD, but we released a couple of other stablecoins. So the first one on the left is FX USD. The second one is RUSD. It's exactly the same model, except it's backed by LRTs. Being backed by LRTs, when you stake your stable into the stability pool, and that's a unique usage, not only will you get enhanced yield, but you'll also get enhanced points, up to 4x point on ETHFI and up to 2x points on Eigenlayer. And this stability pool, there's an alpha here. This stability pool is about to be tokenized into a yield-bearing stablecoin, giving you these 4x points. I'll let you imagine all the usage we can have with such a token. This third one is BTC USD. It was the first trial of having a reserve-backed stablecoin backed by non-yield-bearing token, because it's backed by Wrapped Bitcoin, which is not generating yield. So on this iteration, we charge a very small funding to the leverage holders to pay the stability pool. And last but not least, FETH was actually the first stablecoin to be released. It was released in August 2023. And that's my personal favorite because it's only stable because it keeps 10% of ETH volatility. That means when ETH goes by 30%, FETH only takes 3%. And I love it because I like to call it the ETH native stablecoin because it only relies on ETH economics rather than central banks' decisions. And I just love this model. That's how I discovered FX in the first place. So, yeah, if we look back at the stablecoin trilemma, as you may see, we achieved to get a perfect stability because I think I've said it enough, but the stables are perfectly pegged. It's decentralized because it's fully on-chain and backed by decentralized assets. And it's scalable because it's 100% collateralized at all times, so more scalable than the CDP. So I understand it's a way new model, and that was the purpose of this keynote today. I hope I raised your interest. And I've been very, very quick, so if you have any question, feel free. Any question, maybe? Yeah, there's a question here. I don't know what time I started the keynote, but when I rehearsed, I did 25 minutes, and it's only 5:05.
Hello, Cyrille, what's up? Yeah, you work quick,
but
you're usually quick. I wanted to maybe ask you to how much of a difference does this approach? How unique do you see this approach taken by FX? And how much of a game changer it is? And what are the if you can try to sum it up in as simply as you can, what are the main few benefits of this new model presented by FX to previous models that coexist in the industry for a while?
Yeah, I think the main benefit is this. There are a couple of actually that the fact obviously it has a perfect peg while being decentralized, and it's been a compromise most people wouldn't want to do previously with all decentralized stablecoins because you never know how the peg is going to be. And the fact that this model doesn't rely on external liquidity to be pegged because the protocol itself is the best liquidity source there is for the stablecoin. And that's pretty new. That's a brand new model. And on the other hand, the non-liquidable leverage token is a pretty new narrative as well, I believe. I hope I answered your question. Is there any other question? Another one? Yeah?
Do you think this model can play a role in attracting different types of capital into the ecosystem? Like, for example, can we make this model attractive to participants such as like, I don't know, TradFi participants, institutional participants, whatever. And also maybe after that, if you can elaborate on how maybe other participants, like native participants within the DeFi space can use this model to their advantage as well by working, integrating effects or working with this model or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's tons of stuff to do in terms of integrations and so on. But about onboarding TradFi institutions and so on, I guess it's possible since the protocol is very scalable. I mean, you can, if you guys want to try, whether you go on CarSwap or on the DApp directly, if you guys want to try to mint FXUSD with very large numbers, you'll probably be impressed. Even on CowSwap, sometimes you get more because CowSwap will take benefits of markets inefficiency between, let's say, your USDC and Steve, which is backing the FXUSD. So it's definitely ready to onboard large amounts. Actually, just the protocol is about 60 million TVL at the moment. We onboarded 7 million just today in a blink. And so it works pretty well. And your second question about integrations, I think there's tons of integrations to do, especially with the tokenized stability pool we're about to release. It's easily bridgeable, it makes a very good collateral as well to borrow against and do whatever you want, because it already has leverage on points and a pretty decent yield. There's, like, I don't know, tons of stuff to do. Is there any other question? Okay.
Any other questions, guys? So I just wanted to jump in and say a big thanks to Cyrille. We've had some real OGs on the stage, in the reserve-backed stablecoin and niche. And I think, how can people follow you and how can they come in and work with FX Protocol? You want to maybe share your handle and stuff, and because I know you do also have referral links on your X profile. So maybe just tell people your handle. They can come in and work with FX Protocol and you guys,
I'm sorry, I didn't get your first question.
How can people come in and work with you? Maybe give them, share your handle, your socials.
Oh yeah, sure. Actually, there's you can find me on Twitter. If you can put the screen, you can find my Twitter handle here. Sorry? Yeah. My name is on the slide, so Cyrille Brière. You can find me on X, and you can just join the Aladdin DAO Discord. This is where it all happens, and it's really a community-focused DAO. All members, all contributors came out of the community. I actually started by just sharing a couple of ideas when I read the white paper, and that's how I got onboarded on the protocol. So everybody is welcome to provide ideas and so on. And we also have this referral system that you can harness, because actually using the referral system you can even get paid for getting the leverage tokens. So
I was just reading about that, the LRT tokens that you can then leverage. So honestly, guys, what a session, and what a session to finish today's off. Can we give a big round of applause for Cyrille here, guys? Let's put our hands together.
Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
And put it this way, if they're, Aladdin DAO, check them out, Aladdin DAO on X. If you're going to be working with contributors, ambassadors like Cyrille, honestly, I would get there soon, and and start making some money. So let's do it.
Yeah, and feel free to catch me if you want to build stuff together, and I'm always open to integrations ideas.
Perfect. And I was actually about to
Thank you
talk
very
about
much.
the side events. Will you be?
The A-Team. Yeah, we conduct the A-Team space almost every Wednesday on X. So you can join the A-Team X page as well if you want to know about all the different integrations we built and so on.
I'm going to be asking you about that later. Will you be at the speaker dinner this evening?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, put it this way, I was about to close off today, so I'm going to do it with Cyrille on stage with us. Another big round of applause for today and all the speakers today, guys.
Thank you.
Also want to say a big thank you to all the engineers, all the sound technicians, everybody that's making today possible. We have one more day left, guys, today. This whole week has been flying through. So I just want to say a big thank you as well to all of you for all of your attention today. But we have a whole list of events this evening. So make sure you head along to some of them. There's a speaker dinner on. There's also a Milady's rave. So I don't know if you guys like music, like partying. Who knows, maybe we'll see each other there later. And I hope everyone has a great evening, no matter what you do. Ciao, ciao. Take care.
See you. Thank you.
Amazing, bro. Wow.
Thank you, man.
Great session.